This episode of DDO Players News is brought to you by the fine folks over at the Skull Splitter Dice Company, skullsplitterdice.com. Check them out for all of your dice needs, metal dice, regular dice, and dice in between. They have it all at skullsplitterdice.com. Don't forget to check out the premium mystery blind bags as well. You never know what you're going to get, but it could be something great. Check it out at skullsplitterdice.com. And once again, thank you so much to the fine folks at the Skull Splitter Dice Company for sponsoring DDO Players News.
Good day, everyone. This is Polly Noodles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. Please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Draculita.
Hey now, everybody. How's it going?
Hello there, Drac. How are things going over in Ravenloft?
Same mist, different day.
Same mist. Then things still aren't clearing up down there.
Not really. But at least the heat is kind of leaving, so that's good.
Oh, yes. That was a welcome surprise where the heat just decided to be pulled out when a storm went through. Apparently,
I have appeased the windy mark, so it's good.
All right, good. Now you just wish the rest of the curse will end.
Exactly. We'll see.
We'll see. Let's head over into news about DDO, where we are going to have a look at update 50.3, where we have an update here concerning, of course, Saltmarsh stuff, probably.
Yeah, it looks like the bulk of this was Saltmarsh related. This was released actually today as we record this on Thursday, September the 2nd. So this is hot off the presses, as it were. Looks like some enhancement work was done. The Ascendancy in the Knight of the Chalice is now properly giving the +2 attack and damage to all weapons as it says it does.
Oh, what? It does what it says?
That's handy. The Radiant Servants cure moderate wounds. That can now be cast on any undead player, so that's handy as well.
Why would cure moderate wounds be cast on undead players? That sounds a little weird.
That does sound weird. And after I said that, I'm like, that doesn't make sense because usually you have to do a wound to heal the undead. I don't know. That is weird. Not sure why that would work on a player that is like in like a vampire shroud or zombie shroud or something. I'm not sure. Good question on that. Have to look into that because that doesn't make sense. On the feat side of things, offhand versatility is no longer erroneously dropping on death.
Oh, maybe you just forget how to use your offhand weapon when you die.
I mean, you have like gone through death and everything, so it's a little confusing when you come back, you know.
Or you lost your hand during the
True,
time.
that could be too.
Regrow.
You rolled really bad and you got the old Vorpal hand. You know what I'm saying? Some item work was done as well. This one I think is going to make a lot of people happy. Legendary items now drop from legendary level quest in the Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh instead of their upgradable heroic equivalents.
Okay.
There was a lot of people saying, why are you doing this? What was happening before is you would get even if you were in the legendary versions of the quest, you would get the heroic item, and then you would just have to upgrade the item. You had to update it twice, I think, because you had to update it to epic, and then from epic to legendary. Well, now just the legendary items just drop straight out. For the longest time, they were saying that was working as intended. That's how it was supposed to work. And
apparently
then
the player base convinced them that the intention was a bad idea.
I think that's what happened, actually. I think that was because players were like, nah, let's just do this the other way around. So I'm guessing that's what happened.
Most likely.
Legendary green steel augments are now displaying their descriptions when slotted. The binding status has been corrected for several items within the Sands of the Nectarian. The Sovereign Lightning Strike on accessories now functions correctly. Not exactly sure what that means, but okay. Several set bonuses from the Red Fens are now functioning correctly as well. A lot of just little small fixes like this. Random loot and Kenneth crafted weapons now have their correct W scaling. Good to know. Cleansing rituals now properly work on Web of Chaos items. Also handy that it's actually working correctly. The Monster Manual Volume 8 Living Spell Creature Companion reward will no longer show a string table error in its tooltip. Ah, the good old string table error. Having a main hand weapon be a favored weapon no longer inadvertently removes certain critical bonuses from your weapons, such as from the Inquisitive Universal Enhancement tree. Again, handy, handy, handy. Some monsters got a few fixes. Oh, is there something you wanted to say about?
No, it's just strange.
Oh, yeah. A lot of these are kind of like, huh? Okay, that's cool. Some monsters got some work as well. Crayfish are no longer getting an erroneous damage bonus from their strength. Additionally,
Yay.
they should double hit somewhat less frequently.
Yay!
I take it you have ran into this.
Well, I was thinking, boy, those crayfish are really, really, really annoying.
It's like, what are these crayfish eating in salt marsh? Good God, man. Some general stat mods have been adjusted for vermin. The healing amplification debuff by the plague reapers is now more visually noticeable. Words are hard, apparently. The effect of the slow trap spell used by some enemies now only lasts 20 seconds on players. Thank God. That was annoying when you got hit by that, and it seemed to last forever. Skeletons found within Salt Marsh are no longer healed by positive energy. Handy.
And that sort of sounds like it goes with the...
Right, exactly.
we talked about earlier.
Exactly. That kind of reminds me of the last patch note we talked about. And then in Under Cover of Darkness, Infected Rat now doesn't get healed by AOL healing spells anymore. It's mostly dead.
Mostly dead.
Mostly dead. Not fully dead, just mostly dead.
Mostly dead.
And Reaper Mode's Resurrection Ward will no longer erroneously be reapplied in certain situations after a player snaps back to their Soul Stone. Several optional and bonus chests in quests in the Sands of Manectrian and the Vault of Night. Adventure packs are no longer dropping deprecated epic seals, and they now drop their appropriate pack upgrade ingredients. The Fate Spinner has returned to her place within the Salt Marsh Tavern, as well as remaining in her location within the Salt Marsh Training Hall. So she split in two, and she's in two places at once.
Well, maybe she has a twin sister.
Oh, there you go. That makes sense. Swim at your own risk. That is a quest as well. That fixed an issue with the mage boss missing spells on certain difficulties. They fixed an issue with the barrier that dropped too early and could lead to more than one version of 1,000 teeth being spawned.
Oh my goodness. 1,000 teeth is bad enough with just one version of him. I'd hate to see what happens if he...
Gonna say, that sounds terrifying when you have multiple 1,000 teeth running after you. Terrifying.
Yes. You certainly don't want more than what? 1,000 teeth is bad enough.
That's right. Only one, thank you very much. And then the public grouping system has received an update. I know there was a lot of people excited about this. The system now will automatically set the level range to correspond within the level of the content you are running. In heroic levels, the upper level boundary is now the instant level, and the lower boundary is the instant level -3. So a level 6 quest on Elite, which is instant level 8, will always be open to levels 5 through 8. Regardless of the level of the players in the group. This has an upper limit of 19. And then in your epic levels, the lower level boundary is now 20, regardless of the quest CR. The upper level boundary is the instance level +2, due to epic levels having an expanded bravery bonus range. So a level 25 quest on Elite will now always be in the 20 to 29 range, and this has an upper limit of 30. That was a lot of numbers and a lot of math.
And then let's go on to our next piece of news, where they are looking for a new producer for DDO, and there is a job listing over at the Daybreak website giving the lists of responsibilities, requirements, and what may help you in being this new person, like, it helps if you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I laughed at that. Yes, being familiar with tabletop D&D might be a plus for this job position. You think? Yeah, this was interesting news for sure, because I'm like, wait, we have a executive producer and we have an associate producer. So now are we getting a new producer too? What's going on here? I did actually reach out to Cordovan for clarification on this, and he said, I will quote him here, Sutherland does remain the executive producer. This position will update a recently created associate producer position and moves it to the producer title and hires for this. Our most recent associate producer was Coco Majobo, as we all know, who is pursuing other life interests and is no longer in that role. So I assume that means he no longer is at Standing Stone as well. I guess
That's what it sounds like.
that's how I would take that. Fond wishes and good luck to whatever you're doing now, Coco. You were, we love talking to you. We've talked to him a couple times. You were great in the role that you filled for DDO and at SSG. So wish you nothing but the best, and hopefully we can get somebody cool new to slide into the producer position to assist Sev on this, and we get many cool things to come out of DDO. Go over to Daybreak Games /careers, and you can see this opportunity if you would like to apply for this, if you have what it takes. But remember, if you're familiar with tabletop D&D, that's a plus. Just saying.
That's the plus, right?
Just saying.
Right. Then that's it for our game news this week. So let's go and head out and see what's coming in from the dungeon. And it looks like it's G.I. Joe that's coming in from the dungeon.
It is the G.I. Joe role-playing game.
And they've taken how long before?
Yeah,
I mean, they don't have one already?
Yeah, I was surprised at that. I looked, and there is like a couple like homebrew type things, but there was never an official G.I. Joe role-playing game, which shocked the hell out of me, actually. It was like, really? I could have swore there was one. That was kind of one of those Mandela effect things. I'm like, yeah. I'm almost positive there was a G.I. Joe game, but there was not. Like I said, I did find a couple homebrew games, but this is pretty freaking sweet if you're a G.I. Joe fan. In the G.I. Joe role-playing game, you're going to create your own Joe by choosing your military training origin, your personal traits, and your role within the G.I. Joe organization, and you're going to become a real American hero and save the day. The core rulebook is going to give you everything you need to create your own Joe and, of course, play the game. All you're going to need is some dice, some friends, and, of course, your imagination. The G.I. Joe role-playing core rulebook is going to retail for $55 at its release, and they are going to have a deluxe limited edition cover and silver foil edition of this, which is kind of weird. It's also going to be $55, which usually, like the limited edition deluxe covers of RPG books are usually more, but okay, cool. So yeah, there was no, unfortunately in the press release, there was no picture of what the limited edition cover looks like. There is the regular edition. If you're watching the YouTube version of this, you're seeing it on the screen. If you're listening to the podcast, you can go over to the show notes and click over on that. You can go to the site to get that. But once again, this is going to give you everything you need to create your Joe character. It's going to be a full rule book for running the role-playing game. You're going to need one game master, of course, to lead the story and players to play. It does contain an introductory adventure for your new Joe team, and it's going to be a hardcover book with 304 pages with a ribbon bookmark.
I am trying to figure out exactly what's supposed to be the timeline on this piece. You got one person who looks like has this almost like a beam weapon there. We've got Then we
Yeah.
had this woman with it's a modern crossbow, so it looks like something that someone could in a modern army carry if they were trying on a stealth mission. You got this guy with what looks like a flaming sword.
I mean, it's G.I. Joe, so you use your imagination. You can do whatever the heck you want, apparently. And you have
Okay,
planes. You have
apparently.
planes in the background, too.
Okay, yeah, the planes make absolute total sense. There is absolutely nothing here that makes more sense than the planes in the background.
Right, exactly. But then again, if you're familiar with G.I. Joe, everything makes sense.
Yes, I wasn't that familiar with G.I. Joe. I just imagined it was a set in World War II type era or something.
No, not the cartoon. It was not.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the cartoon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is based on the cartoon, of course, which...
Okay, not on the action figures.
Right. No. Now, those were based on World War II, I think. 1, 2. I don't know. G.I. Joe's...
Probably
The action figures have been around forever.
Yeah, okay. It could be that they were originally World War One, later became World War II, because I've always associated them with World War II. So
Yeah, I would have to look it up. I don't know. I never really got into collecting the G.I. Joes. I mean, I had G.I. Joes, but I played with them. I never actually collected them. But I know
neither did I. So
some of those older G.I. Joes are worth bank now, though, if you have them. Also announced was the G.I. Joe role-playing game Dice, because you need a set of dice to play. Of course,
Right.
These are G.I. Joe themed, and also features a D2 coin featuring the logos of both G.I. Joe and Cobra on either side. These are going to be $15 retail when they do release. And also a dice bag was announced, which the dice bag, I'm just going to be honest here, Renegade, and I should say this is from Renegade Game Studios that's doing this game. I guess we didn't talk about that at the beginning. Going to be honest with you, Renegade, your dice bag is lame.
okay. Now I would presume then that they're doing this under license from Hasbro.
Yes, this is fully licensed from Hasbro, which is kind of weird. That's why I'm like, why didn't just WotC do this? But
that's what makes sense, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was because when I didn't pay attention to the press release I got, and I'm like, oh my God, WotC's coming out with the G.I. Joe. Oh, it is not WotC. It is Renegade. Yeah, seriously, your dice bag, it's super lame-o with the graphic that's on it. You really should up your... I mean, I get it. It's like the G.I. Joe logo. Okay, fine, but you could have done better with your dice bag. It's going to be $15 at launch as well. And of course, you're going to get a Game Master screen as well. And the GM screen is also going to include a 32-page adventure rulebook. That's going to be $28 at release. No exact release date was announced. Stay tuned. We'll update you when that is announced. But yeah, G.I. Joe role-playing game coming soon-ish from Renegade Game Studios.
All right, G.I. Joe started in 1964, so that means
There you go. Okay.
I would say probably based on World War II, because World War II was still a popular theme in people's minds back then, especially considering that the Korean War and the Vietnamese War weren't all that popular. So
Okay, yep. I kind of thought for some reason it was World War II was when the whole G.I. Joe thing started. So there you go. And of course, finally, knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle.
Thank you for helping me work that joke in. I was trying to figure out how to work it in, so thanks. Yes, set it up perfect.
Let's go and see what's on the tabletop. Where apparently a couple more companies have decided that maybe it's not safe to head into Indiana this September.
Yeah. Yep. The first one to announce that they have pulled out of Gen Con 2021, unfortunately, is our Talasaurian Games. They said, after considering internal discussions, we have decided to exit Gen Con 2021. We didn't do this lightly. We had planned on our biggest Gen Con this year yet, with even more events than ever, more booth space than ever, and a larger crew than ever. And that's why, in good conscience, we cannot attend the convention. The health and the safety of our crew comes first, and the numbers in Indiana are abysmal. Yes, they are. The vaccination rates are too low for the positivity rates, and the new case rates are too high. And the social mandates designed to protect people are too few. If even one member of our crew caught COVID-19 while attending Gen Con or carried it home to their loved ones and their local community, that would be one too many. They did go on to say that they want to make it clear they are not blaming the staff of Gen Con 2021 or the Indiana Convention Center in any way. We honestly do believe they have done everything they legally and contractually can to make the convention as safe as experience as possible. Unfortunately, conventions never happen just inside the convention center. There are airports, hotels, open spaces, places to eat, places to play. The risk of infection is just too high. They added if you were planning to attend Gen Con and sit down at their tables to play their games, they're super sorry. You can contact Gen Con and get a refund for your event tickets. If you plan to head to Gen Con and visit their booth or buy anything from us, again, they are very sorry. We heartily suggest purchasing the games through your local friendly game store if at all possible. And then if you're attending Gen Con, please be safe, get yourself vaccinated, and if you can, and if you aren't already, wear your mask, wear it properly, don't touch your face, social distance as much as possible, wash and or sanitize your hands regularly, be a responsible member of the gaming community. They're going to miss being a Gen Con this year. It broke their hearts to make the decision, but it felt like it was the right call for the company and crew, and it is their sincere desire to see everybody at Gen Con 2022. So please, let's all we can do to make that happen.
Well, I think that if you are planning on going to Gen Con and have not been vaccinated yet, it's a bit late to get one right now.
You're out of luck. Yeah, you're out of luck. That ship has sailed.
Yeah, it's way past the deadline for
Well, I
being
guess
able to do that in time.
I guess you could technically get the Johnson & Johnson one shot.
Well, yeah, but how long does that take to be effective?
I think that's what I can't remember. I didn't get the one shot one, so I don't know. I did the 2 shots, so I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's like 14 days, maybe, till they say you're fully vaccinated. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You best get it today.
Right.
Because it's exactly 14 days until the start of Gen Con from today. So you best get that scheduled like right now. Get that one shot if you want to get vaccinated. That's what I'm saying right now. I'm pretty sure somebody can tell me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's 14 days that what you're considered quote unquote fully vaccinated.
Well, see, I think that's what it was for the 2-shot version.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Johnson & Johnson.
I think it's the same, but like I said, somebody either correct me down in the comments on YouTube or podcast at ddoplayers.com if I'm wrong. Yeah, I was looking forward to talking to them because we actually had an interview set up with these guys. Oops. So guess that's not happening now.
Then let's also look into Plaid Hat Games, who also has decided that it is best for them not to attend GermCon.
Yeah, GermCon, I love it. Yes, and Plaid Hat is actually including Origins in their announcement too, so they're not going to be at Gen Con or Origins this year. Plaid Hat did say, despite the safety measures put in place by these 2 conventions, the staff agreed that we'd feel more comfortable setting this year out. And I do believe Plaid Hat actually was the first one to announce this before RTG, and Plaid Hat was the first company that I know of to announce that they have pulled out of the conventions after the surge of Delta. So I think they are the first ones to kind of look at the surge and it's like, oh, hey, yeah, numbers aren't looking great. This Delta variant surge ain't looking great. So I think we're going to stay home. We too had an appointment scheduled with Plaid Hat as well. So there's 2 interviews gone out the window.
Gone out the window.
Yeah, this year's interviews are going to be interesting. I'll just put it that way.
Yes. I mean, you'd almost have to book virtual interviews with them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think a lot of this is going to happen, but I don't know. We'll see. I do have a couple scheduled already. A lot of people, their marketing team is not going to be at the convention, so no interviews with them. It's, as I told you to be when we were talking before the show, I think this year is going to be what I did. Like, I was pretty sure it was like the first year we covered Gen Con. We only did a couple interviews. That is going to be old school like I did then. I'm just going to walk up to the booth and say, hey, you want to talk about your games? So we'll see how this works.
And that concludes what's coming on the tabletop, or off the tabletop in this case. So let's into our week in gaming. And Drac, what were you up to?
Next.
Really?
Really? Yeah. No, I didn't do anything. I did 0 things related to gaming, like none. I'm just trying to think if I did anything that was even halfway related to gaming, and the answer to that is
0.0.
They're keeping you busy at work, that's for sure.
yes. That and the whole health situation that I have going on. It's,
Yes.
things are not well in the whole Barovia land right now. So unfortunately, I didn't do anything game wise.
Very well. You'll need a paladin to cast.
I do.
Disease and remove
I do.
curses
I
on you.
need curses removed, diseases removed, God knows what removed. So any paladins out there, I know Barovia is a scary place, but it's not that bad. Trust me. You'll be fine.
Somehow paladins in Barovia, it doesn't exactly sound like a.
You'll be fine.
It'll have to be, the paladin will obviously have to be looking for a challenge.
Exactly. Just watch out for the Wendigos and you'll be fine.
Yes, of course. You can't forget about the Barovian Wendigo. And then let's have a look at my week in gaming, where we'll begin with in DDO, where my YouTube character finished up with the main Saltmarsh quest. Means I ran the final enemy and went all the way through that. And of course, now I was going through an area where I was less familiar with, since I was familiar with the haunted house. I did those builds in Minecraft on them. But the final enemy, the only thing I was familiar with was a description where one time you read a passage from the final enemy during an earlier episode, when which was supposed to be a teaser for an edition of Saltmarsh that was coming out.
Yep.
Apparently, something from the gladiatorial fight that's not down the 3rd level, I presume, is what you were quoting from.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. So I saw what that was all about and what happened on there. So I finished up my main Saltmarsh quest there. Then I finally got around to, I know it's only September, and I finally got around to creating that casual DDO characters that I was saying at the beginning of the year that I was going to create and play to have fun.
I actually thought you already did that, but okay.
Well, if I did, I completely forgot what character that was.
Okay, gotcha.
So I created this character, a gnome artificer, ran through the Borderlands, got all the way through there, and at the end of the Borderlands, I reached level 3, which means actually I might have had to kill a couple of mobs on the wilderness to get to level 3, but I quickly got to level 3, then went over to Saltmarsh and ran the haunted house to investigate the haunted house.
Naturally.
That's in there. And when I was going into this haunted house, and you remember the combination
Yes.
lock,
Yes.
which is, of course, one of the 3 areas where the mini boss can pop up. Just before that room, I found a protection scroll.
Well,
And I
that's
thought,
handy.
well, all right, I'm an artificer. I've got a pretty good skill with being able to read scrolls, whether it's use magical device. So a pretty good skill at that. So I thought, all right, let's try this. So I click on it. I didn't see an icon pop up, so I figured, all right, only 65% chance of success, so the spell must have failed. I then clicked on the combination lock to continue on there, and the mini boss of course, spawned right there just to make my life exciting. And I suddenly realized that I couldn't do anything. None of my skills were working. And I was trying to figure out what on earth is going wrong. And by the time I figured it out, I was dead.
Okay.
Because mini boss and not able to do any skills, not a good combination. It also didn't help that I forgot to bring out my dog for this adventure. So I had all that going against me. And then when I got back to the inn, I realized that I was still holding the scroll.
Oops.
I had completely forgotten how scrolls work in DDO.
Oh, no.
I've only ever used those things to learn spells, and I forgot that, yes, clicking on a scroll doesn't cast the scroll, it equips the scroll, and then you have to double click it again to actually cast the scroll.
Oops.
Oops is right.
Oopsie.
So after that little fail, I went back to the haunted house, went through all the various rooms again, got to the combination lock, got in there. I had the scroll. This time I picked up the scroll. I read the scroll. I re-equipped my crossbow to make sure I did all of that. Then I clicked on the combination lock. Of course, this time the mini boss was elsewhere, so I just had to fight a different set of monsters, a less nasty set of monsters in there. But I had absolutely no trouble since this time I was armed and was able to handle it. I even had my dog with me.
Oh, jeez.
So I managed to get everything right that time after that complete fiasco on my first attempt in there. Now, in other games, for our multiplayer server for Minecraft, we decided to raid an end city. Did I talk about killing the dragon before?
Yes, you did.
Okay, right. Yes. So we decided, all right, now that we've killed the dragon, it was time to head out and raid an end city. And we got there, finally finding an end city, because in order to get to an end city, it's very, very challenging in there because you have all these little islands all over the place in the end. And if you fall into it, you don't fall into water if you're in the end from island to island. You fall into the void and die and lose all your stuff.
Well, that sucks.
So I was building bridges onto there so they could finally find an end city. And I thought we were all going to go together and raid this end city. And this end city turned out to be, at best, an end village. I think if there's the smallest possible size you could have for an end city in Minecraft, that's what we found. But we did get a couple of shulker boxes, so it's the first time in which I actually managed to collect the shulker shells myself in order to make a shulker box. So we did manage to at least get a few of those in there. I also played several rounds of Railroad Inc. I think I mentioned playing Railroad Inc. before in an earlier episode. This time I decided to test out a few of the expansions and played several different little expansions there. And that's my week in gaming. We currently have 15 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, you can go to the donations page. We can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you like since when, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. You can also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Draculetta at Dracula_72, and Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles. The Players Alliance has two shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we have Loach Players News. You can join us for our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And just remember that DDO Players News is now available on Amazon Music and Audible.
Yay, more ways to find the podcast.
More ways to find the podcast.
And a couple new ways coming soon.
Ooh, we'll hear about that soon, I guess. Yes. But until then, this is Pine Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.
This episode of DDO Players News was brought to you by the Skull Splitter Dice Company at skullsplitterdice.com. Check out the new line of metal D100 dice. They are over a half pound each. You know you want a metal D100. You can get it now over at skullsplitterdice.com. Also, check out the premium mystery blind bags where you never know what you're going to get. So take a chance over at skullsplitterdice.com. And thank you once again to the fine folks over at Skull Splitter for bringing us DDO Players News.